Hi, I'm Wendy from shinyhappyworld.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this squirrel block. So he is available, this is one block in the Woodland Critters quilt pattern, which has a whole bunch of different forest animals in it, but you can also get the squirrel just as its own pattern. Both of those patterns are available at shinyhappyworld.com. Here's how to make him. All right, got all the pieces ready here to put together this squirrel. So this is the video showing you how to do this, how to assemble all the pieces without using Lightbox, which means that you will need all of these lines as a guide. You're going to have to transfer them from the paper side of the fabric to the fabric side. Just hold it up to a window and you'll be able to see those lines right through it, and then you can trace them. I use a chalk line wherever I can. If the fabric is too light for chalk to show up, I will use a pencil. And if it's a place where I'm going to applique solid black fabric over it, like the eyes and the nose, or I'm just going to be stitching those lines, like the mouth and the eyebrows, I will also use just a fine point Sharpie, nothing fancy. And it doesn't matter that it's permanent because I'm going to stitch over all of those lines with black thread, so you'll never even be able to see them. So this is what I call snapshot style, which means it's going off the bottom edge of the block. So you know that the squirrel has more body. If you floated it here, it would look like he's been chopped off. If you line it up at the bottom edge of the block, it will look like it's just been cropped out of the photo. So it's there, it's just not showing. I'm going to shift him over to the side here. So when we do the snapshot style, we line the flat edge, the cut edge up with the cut edge at the bottom of the block. And this one has a big poofy tail, so I'm not centering him. I am leaving room for the big poofy squirrel tail. And we can do a little side-to-side shifting if we need to. So I'm going to cover up that line. Once that's covered, I know I have good coverage. And now I think it's a little too far over this way, so I'm going to shift him a bit more. Let's see. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe a hair more. All right, now the rest of him is pretty easy. So we've got a couple of smallish little squirrel ears. I'm going to put one on each side of his head. And the numbers on the back of the pieces will help you figure out which side is what, although it's pretty obvious when you put it on the wrong side, it just looks weird. Let's see, let's give him his nose. And you want to make sure that the point of the nose is pointing exactly to the line that's connecting the nose to the mouth. That's going to make it look like it all goes together, like that line is a line dividing its muzzle. And now he's got a couple of eyes. These eyes are pretty small, but the pattern has information on some options if you decide you don't want to outline. You can totally outline these, I'm going to. But if you don't want to, or if that's the part of the process that you hate the most, don't do it. The pattern has links to other options, including embroidery and fabric paint and my favorite fabric markers. It has some free machine embroidery files, lots of options. And then he has the belly in a slightly paler gray. All right, so I'm going to carefully take this over to my ironing board, fuse everything down, just use whatever the instructions are on the brand of fusible adhesive you are using. I'm using Heat and Bond Light. And then I'm going to do all the outline stitching on him and bring him back here, and I'll show you the finished squirrel, and I'll also show him to you in a different color option that I also did. And here is the finished squirrel. I've done all of the outline stitching. I've added some catch lights to his eyes, just a little dot of white fabric paint. And I made a couple of other different color versions too that I want to show you. This is the one that you see on the cover of the Woodland Critters quilt pattern. All of the blocks in that sample use the kind of dappled tone-on-tone greens. They're all from the Avocado Blenders collection. And all of the animals use realistic animal colors from the Animal Kingdom color palette of blenders, so all different shades of browns and grays. But I did another version. I made two samples for this quilt pattern. So here's the other. So in this one, again, all of the animals in this sample that I made use the Animal Kingdom realistic colors, but the backgrounds, instead of being kind of foresty green, are all different bright colors, and they're all solids of these fabrics that I've designed with the quilting lines actually printed right on the fabric. So totally different look. And for this version of the squirrel, I stitched the eyelashes. So almost all of the animals in the pattern have eyelashes as part of their pattern. You can either stitch them in like I did for this one, or you can ignore them like I did for this one. But I made one more squirrel block too. So this is another quilt that I'm making separate from the Woodland Critters quilt pattern. I'm just using some of the blocks from it. And in this version, instead of the background blocks being green, foresty green, or bright colors, with the animals being realistic, in this one, the backgrounds are in those kind of neutral animal colors, lots of browns and grays. And all of the animals on the quilt are bright colors from the farmer's market blenders. And each animal is monochromatic. So this is the yellow squirrel. So it's turning out to be a really cute quilt. I like these bright colors on the neutral backgrounds. It's just been a lot of fun. So I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World, and this is the squirrel pattern.